Well, it's easy to see that this year's Jordan's a very competitive car, and it's taken a lot of hard work to get it there. Louise Goodman went across the road here at Silverstone to the Jordan factory to take a look at a vital piece of equipment that ensures success.
Jordan did 450 laps at Silverstone last week, and despite the pre-race ban on testing, they ran another 160 laps this week. The question is how?
And this is the answer. This is the team's 7-post rig, and with me is Jordan's technical director, Mike Gascoyne, to tell us all about it. Mike, what is a 7-post rig and what do you use it for?
Well, basically we use it to simulate the car going around a track. We've got 7 hydraulic actuators here, 1 under each of the tyres, plus 3 more actuators to simulate the aerodynamic loads on the car, and we can replay track data back through it to simulate the car going around the track.
Why do you need to do that?
Well, when we're at a race meeting, we have very limited time to set up the car on the track, and here we can adjust all the settings on the suspension that we can to try and optimise those settings to get the best performance out of the car. Basically, underneath the floor, we have 7 fairly large hydraulic actuators. One of those is under each wheel, basically moving the car, and then we also have 1 actuator on the front of the car and 2 at the rear to simulate the aerodynamic loads on the car, and they're all mounted on a very heavy metal and concrete plate to absorb all the vibration. Those 4 actuators are computer controlled, so we're replaying information back from the track through the car to basically simulate how the car moves on the track, and also the aerodynamic loads, because if we didn't simulate them, they're so large that the car would be jumping around all over the place. So we're simulating how the car moves on the track, and then we can adjust the suspension parameters that we would normally adjust on the track to try and optimise the performance of the car. The guys here, normally on a Grand Prix weekend, they're here all overnight, working very hard. After we finish running at 2 o'clock, they'll get that information back, and then they'll start work. And obviously for them, they can run hundreds of laps, running through all the spring settings, roll bar settings, damper settings, with all of those combinations, running through hundreds of different settings to try and optimise the car performance. It really just cuts down the time you have to be at the racetrack, and it's because that time is limited. When you're trying to get every sort of competitive edge, it's essential for doing this sort of work.
How much time can you actually find on this? Are we talking thousands, hundreds?
I mean, it's impossible to put it in sort of in terms of time, because you know, you never really clearly back-to-back something like this. But for sure, you find when you've got these facilities and you're using them and getting the best out of them, you move up the grid, and Jordan's moving up the grid because we have this sort of facility.